Hi, I'm Will,
Hey, and I'm Tosha. Welcome back to My Better Half.
and we are now into episode 11. This is the end of this kind of mini series, if you will, and the grand finale of this series that's focused on the architecture of love. We are going to be at the roof. We've kind of been making our way up, and now we're at the roof. We just left the fireplace talking about physical intimacy. And now we're going to talk about the roof, which is spiritual intimacy and shared meaning.
All right, so first we got to check in because we got to do it every time. Last week we talked about this amazing challenge, the 6-second connection. So you were supposed to kiss your spouse for 6 whole seconds. And man, I want to know how that went.
How did I do?
I mean, you did really well. I love practicing that with you.
Okay.
I mean, true confession is we practiced that one more than we practiced any of our other challenges.
And if from this entire series, 26 episodes, if you just kissed your spouse for 6 seconds every time and you built that bond and that connection, that would be a massive takeaway.
If you didn't get a chance to do it last week, it's okay. You can still do it.
Yep.
The challenge is to do it this week. You can add it on. It's such an easy challenge. You can add it on to the challenge you get this week.
God created the world in 6 days. Think about that. Think about that. Think about that. That's the completion moment right there. So let's talk a bit more now about spirituality and the importance of having shared meaning. So Tosha, talk to us, guide us forward here as we talk here about vulnerability and really connection.
Okay. All right. So a lot of us, well, I'd say probably haven't. Many of us feel like it's easier to get vulnerable physically. And then others of us find that hard as well. And that's okay. All right. We all have our challenges. But one of the things that's even harder, I would say, is to get spiritually naked. To be vulnerable on a whole different level with that person that is your person. You know, we share a bank account and a bed, and we struggle to share our souls with each other.
Right.
And our prayers and our deepest feelings are our deepest whys.
Yeah. We call the roof spiritual intimacy. Without it, you can have a beautiful interior, but when the storms of life hit, when you go through grief and loss and transition, everything gets soaked. So you need a covering that's bigger than just the both of you. So you need a roof. You need a roof. Spirituality is both the roof and the foundation. A house without a foundation will get washed away. A house that has a foundation but has no roof, you're going to get soaked. And so really spirituality sandwiches your relationship. It should be the base and the covering over your relationship. Now, I'll be honest with you. In our world, there's a scripture in Matthew 24, verse 12. It says, because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold, but he who stands firm to the end will be saved. And that's verse 13. We live in a world that degrades, devalues, denigrates spirituality because honestly, so many people in our world lack a foundation, lack a roof. And so when life hits, they get washed away. And when life hits, they get soaked. They get completely hosed. And so what we're saying to you is in your life, your spiritual life is the single most important thing. Marriage is a spiritual covenant. Marriage is a spiritual act. Marriage actually is the basis for building greater spirituality. When describing the relationship between Christ and the church, Paul explained that that's what marriage is all about. That it shows that the synchronicity of the relationship between the head and the body, between Christ and the church. When God created the very first institution, it was marriage. Spirituality matters in marriage. Spirituality is what makes marriage work. Without a doubt.
Yep. And it's really helpful to have the same base in your marriage. The same spiritual base in your marriage. The truth is, if the two of you don't share the same meaning or the same base, the same spiritual base with each other, it's really hard to move to build upon that base.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the deal. Data shows, let's talk a little bit of science because we're all
Mhm.
about that science.
Mhm.
Data shows that couples who share a consistent spiritual practice report significantly lower divorce rates. It is because you're submitting your individual ego to a higher authority and a higher purpose. You stop asking, "What do I want?" and you start asking, "What is God building through us?" Now,
Mm.
real talk, just to be clear, there are people that genuinely believe in God, walk closely with God, are true believers who have and experience divorces. Like, so
Of
we're not
course.
saying that
Yeah.
Christians are immune to divorce, not at all, because divorce divorce happens because one or both parties decide that they want to separate. You can only carry your side of the tent. You can only
Mhm.
row your side of the boat, right?
Mhm.
So it
Mhm.
actually requires both. But when two people say that there's something bigger than us, a cord of three strands is not easily broken.
I love that whole concept of not what do I want or what do you want, but what is God building through us?
What is he building through
It
us?
means that our relationship is bigger than just us,
Yeah.
you know.
And Gottman's uh, peak, uh, Dr. Gottman's peak level of a sound relationship house is creating shared meaning.
Mhm.
He found that the most resilient couples have shared symbols, shared goals, and a shared story of what their marriage is for.
Mm.
Let me just say it. It's really important. It is essential to be equally yoked. Being unequally yoked, meaning your spouse is going in one direction and you're going in another, you both don't have the binding of shared values,
Mhm.
will lead you to a strained relationship
Yeah.
and could lead you to ruin. So that's why it's so important when you're counting the cost about who you marry, that you don't just shotgun it, that you don't just follow blind impulse, that you really think, I'm building something for a lifetime. I'm building something that will echo across eternity and will impact 4, 5, 10 generations forward.
Yep. All right. So, well, I got a question for you.
Yep.
I mean, we have clearly established our why.
Mhm.
We clearly have a created shared meaning
We do.
within our marriage. But how does it feel when we are spiritually aligned versus when we're just getting through the week, when we're just getting by?
Yeah,
Does it change how you lead?
absolutely. I mean, and we've had lots of weeks like that. We've had lots of days like that. And,
Mm-hmm.
as we've shared, the past 5 years have been um, 5 years of real forging and test
Yeah.
in our own lives, our own life. And so, yeah, there's a big difference between just kind of being connected and just trying to get through the week. And we've had some weeks and some days and some months. Shoot, we've had some years where we're just trying to get through.
Yeah.
And so,
Hanging on by a string.
yeah,
And I
absolutely.
feel like we would have let go at some point if we hadn't had, if we didn't have our spiritual base,
Sure.
something bigger than us,
Sure.
something that meant more than just us,
Yep.
you know? All right, so great. The why behind the hustle. So when we talk about um all of our dreams business wise, um how much of that is the kingdom legacy we want to leave for our kids?
Well, for us right now, the hustle's all about legacy.
Yeah.
I mean, the truth is, me and you, we can only sleep in one bed. We can only wear one
We don't
set
need
of clothes at
much.
a time. We don't need much.
Yeah.
So you know that the hustle right now is all about what we leave for the kids and how we set the kids up,
Yeah.
which is a completely different space to be in. I think we've been hustling just to get them to this place,
Yeah.
and now like things are legitimately shifting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is different. Like this is challenging me, to be honest, more than anything else.
In what way?
Yeah, I think so. It's challenging me because I'm realizing, like in a way that I've never really fully understood before, that none of this has to do with me. That I'm a part of a story. I am not the story.
Yeah.
And so it's it's a real crucifixion of self. You know, and There's elements of it that are liberating. There are elements of it that I'm still legitimately working through.
Hmm. So as you're working through that,
Yeah,
how important is it for me to be standing spiritually with you throughout all of
that's
that?
everything. Like it's everything. Yeah, straight up, it's everything. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it is legit.
You're just figuring it out, aren't you?
I mean, I knew it, but I'm also like realizing it.
Like it just
Like,
hit, like in that
yeah,
moment.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's been hitting, but it's hitting deeper and deeper. I feel like I'm going like 20 levels deeper
Yeah.
every day, trying to make sense of all this stuff.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah, yeah, for real. So, I mean, that being said, um, why do you think it can feel so awkward to pray together after 26 years? Why is it? Why do we have those awkward moments with prayer?
Sometimes it
Because you
depends on what we're praying about, you know? It
That's it.
depends on what's going on. It depends on what's happening in our
Mhm,
hearts. It
mhm.
depends on how we're doing with
Right,
each other. It depends on how much the children are driving us crazy. It depends,
right.
on what's going on. And sometimes one of us doesn't want to pray
Yep.
because we're just like, I'm done. I don't have anything left. I don't even have anything to give to God right now.
Mhm, mhm.
So sometimes one of us, with both of us, usually it's one of us that's okay with praying and the other one who isn't
Yep.
when the other one is struggling. So it's just helpful for one of us to be like, listen, let's just pray. I will pray for both of us. But usually when you do that for me, I usually, even if I didn't want to pray, I'll want to pray.
So when we face these family storms over the past 20 years,
Yeah.
um, how did our faith really provide a roof for us? I mean, if we're gonna be real, we've had some holes in our roof. So I mean, so we've gotten rained on before.
I mean, like torrential pouring.
Torrential pour
Yeah.
down. Like, so we've had to
Yes.
fix the roof. We've had to change the roof.
Yep.
Um,
Many times we were too broke to do all that. Yeah. Okay.
it wasn't
Yeah.
physically broke, like spiritually and emotionally broke. I mean,
Yes.
because
Yes.
it's our spiritual roof. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I don't want to give anybody the impression that like, oh man, we've just been living with a wonderful foundation and a perfect roof, and
Right.
it's
Right.
just been so amazing, man. I didn't even know there was like termites and like
Right.
problems, and I didn't know that your roof could have a leak that wouldn't stop leaking.
Right.
I, it's been real, but how has that made the difference though to have a roof?
Well, the truth is sometimes, let me see, the best way to answer this is sometimes even you and I are not on the same page,
Yeah, of course.
period.
Yeah,
And we're not going to get on the same page till maybe later on that night
yeah.
because we try not to go to bed without when we're still angry with each other. So
Mm-hmm.
by the time it's time to go to bed, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say we've been messed up all day,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and we're not connected. The truth is, when God is in the midst of our relationship, he's the person that I go to,
Right.
So him being the roof of our marriage, like
Mm-hmm.
him being our everything,
Mm-hmm.
has been the thing that's helped me to be able to come back to you in my right mind
Mm-hmm.
by the end of the night when it's time to resolve.
Absolutely.
Like he's the most important thing. He's bigger than the both of us.
Yeah.
So that means I gotta humble out. I gotta come back to you and talk to you about whatever it is.
Yeah.
And hopefully the same for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are a couple scriptures that help us that I think I would want to share with you guys. But we have learned that we have to bathe our hearts with the scriptures to
Mm-hmm.
make it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll be honest with you, like marriage is hard.
Yeah.
And what we're talking about is hard. And we're not talking about just doing something that's episodic or fleeting when it's fun.
Yeah.
But how do you make it through when times are not easy and they're really hard? Um, Ecclesiastes 4:12 says, though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. I never really understood that scripture until this year, last year, the
Mm.
past year and a half. Like, though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. You need somebody that you can be back to back with each other and you can have each other's back. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. It's you, your spouse, and God. That cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken.
In Ephesians 4, 2 through 3, it says, be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. Make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. That applies to your marriage in every way.
Yep.
Be completely humble and gentle, no matter what is happening. It's not dependent on the situation. Be patient and bearing with one another in love. Like, that does not depend on if he's right or if he's wrong or if he's driving me crazy or if I'm just extremely mad at him that day. Like, none of that changes this scripture.
Yep.
Be completely humble and gentle and patient, bearing with each other in love. And at that point, I'm called to make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. I'm called to make every effort to fight for our unity as a married couple because of how much I love God.
And the scripture says in Psalm 127:1, unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the guards stand wait in vain. If God is not the protector of what you're building, it doesn't really matter. Everything else comes to ruin. But the scripture also says in Joshua 24:15, as for me and my household, Joshua says, we will serve the Lord. You've got to make a decision that you and your household, you first, and then your household, that you're going to really serve God.
You may be coming from a place where you're like, we're equally yoked. Okay. All right. Neither one of us are following God. Neither one of us have a relationship with him. We're equally yoked. You may be coming from a place where one of you wants to follow God and the other one doesn't. You may be coming from a place where maybe you both have the same foundation, but you're both struggling at this point. The truth is, no matter where you are in your marriage, in your walk with God, or in your lack thereof walk with God, like, no matter where you are, God always gives us a chance to begin again with him.
Yeah.
Like, and this is one of those things. That's why we use scripture. One of the things I realized too, as we read scripture, some of the couples that I know that aren't necessarily spiritual, their marriages work because they're actually using spiritual concepts and they don't even know it.
Yeah, absolutely. The marriage that prays together stays together, not because of some magic formula, but because it's impossible to stay prideful while you're kneeling.
It is.
And so that posture changes things. And intimacy is not purely physical. It's the meeting of two souls where we're both seeking the Creator. We're both deciding that we are going to do this. And we're going to do this together. I'm telling you, spirituality is your foundation and spirituality is your roof. All right. So let's do what we always do and let's explore your
marriage minute.
All right. So this is the 30-second hand fast. So the goal here is to do what? How does the hand fast work?
I know that sounds a little crazy.
That does sound crazy. So the
goal is to break the awkwardness barrier of spiritual connection. That's the goal. So one time a day, just once. That's all we're asking. One time a day, hold hands for 30 seconds. That's it. That's it.
You just hold hands for 30 seconds. And you can say what you're thankful for. And you can also say what you're asking for. So, Tosha, I'm thankful that you're willing to hold my hand.
Yeah.
And I'm asking that you don't let go of my hand in life.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. By the way, that's an inside joke.
Yes.
Because on our first anniversary, we went snorkeling and I let go. She told me, don't let go of my hand. And I let go of her hand.
Only because I was scared to death.
To point at some fish.
Yes.
And she went berserk. She jumped up on the reef She cut her leg.
Yeah, I
She's
did.
convinced the sharks were gonna come
I
get her.
was.
It was
I
really bad.
was. I
So
was.
ever since then, for the
It
past
took a
25
lot to
years,
work through that. Yes.
we had 10 years of arguing about me never letting go of her hand. Here's the thing, 30 seconds. That's all you do. 30 seconds of holding your spouse's hand. That was probably about 20
Mm,
seconds. So,
think so.
yeah,
Okay.
just about.
Okay.
So here's the thing. So it's really important for us to recognize what we've been talking about. As we've been going through this series over these past 11 episodes, we've talked about friendship, we talked about the vortex, we talked about the startup, we talked about appreciation, responsibility, play, love maps, novelty, the fireplace. And today we spoke about
The roof.
the roof. The roof is on fire.
How did I know you were
Yeah,
going to do that?
I had it. So here's the,
Yes.
hopefully your roof is not on fire. Okay.
Yes.
But hopefully you have fire in your relationship and you are really set up to go.
Yes.
Now, we have just concluded phase 3, which is the architecture of love. We've set the framework and we are going to be going even deeper, even further. And we invite you to join us for our next episode. Now, just so you know, we're really, really grateful that you've been walking with us all through this series so far. We're coming up on spring break. And so we are going to take the next week off for spring break. We encourage you to go back through, listen to the last couple episodes, see what you want to work on, have some fun with it.
Maybe if you missed a little bit of homework, go back and, take some
Catch up.
challenges.
So, but we're going to catch back up with you.
Mhm.
All right. We're going to catch back up with you in a week. So we're going to take 1 week off and then we're going to continue on and we are going to go even deeper, even further. And we hope that you have a wonderful day wherever you are. This week, make sure you hold hands. Since we're going to take a week off, you can hold hands for once a day for 2 weeks straight.
Look at
And
you.
you can have your 6-second kisses and you can do the knee to knee challenge. You can go through all the challenges and enjoy every minute that you get to be married. God love you.